Welcome to True Crime with Strategic Eyes.
Strategic back again. What's going on, guys? Hope you guys are having a great morning. Why do I sound so crazy? Oh, I got the volume too loud here. Down a little bit. All right, sounds a little bit better. How you guys doing there? Appreciate you guys for joining me. Got a great show for you guys today. A lot going on in the world. Right before I started this live, my feed just alerts me that in South Korea, Democratic nation, they have just now put out martial law. And the reason I thought, oh my God, are we going to World War III? Like, is North Korea about to invade South Korea? Like, what's happening here? Because you guys know we're allies and we'll pretty much get sucked into that war. And it's because the South Korean president is talking about there are elements that are sympathetic to North Korea inside of the government and corruption and all that stuff. And it kind of brought my temperature down a little bit. Like, okay, we can relax. We're not going through World War III yet, but it's just very interesting because that's a country that you would not expect for something like this to happen in, and it's happening. And it's just like, wow. And then at the same time, in the lead up to doing this live, I was listening to one of those other true crime channels. I forgot the name of it. Let me pull it up because it's a really good channel. I think you guys should check it out. Just pull it up right here real quick. That would be EWU, Crime Story Time. And I was watching the interrogation of Tyrone Johnson. And this is a guy who's currently on death row in Florida who murdered his girlfriend and her 10-year-old son. Very, very, very sad stuff. And it was just so horrible watching his interrogation. Not that the cops did anything wrong. They did an amazing job, the detectives, but just his lies and the way he tried to portray that he was in shock and, you know, it was an accident because the 10-year-old attacked him, which is not what happened. The evidence told totally different story. He was just a loser, and his girlfriend got tired of it and said, yo, get off the video game and go do something. And he felt like that hurt his manhood, and he decided to chase her down and kill her, and then chase down her son, who we have YouTube videos from her son because he put up a couple of videos where he's hiding under his bed because of lightning storms. Like, this kid would be the kid to go and beat up mommy's boyfriend. Nah, this kid was running for his life, trying to get away from this monster, Tyrone Johnson, and Tyrone Johnson chased him down and murdered him. Multiple shots to both the mother and the son. Very, very disappointing stuff. The evil of men, ladies and gentlemen. I took a college course in college called The Violent Male. That's literally the name of the college course that I took. And I like to be fair, so I took The Violent Male, and it was a very interesting course. It talked about male violence, the propensity of males to commit acts of violence and criminality. And I was like, you know what? Might as well take the female version. Guess what? The female version didn't exist. Because violence is not a female problem. Violence is a male problem. We got to protect the children, people. Unfortunately, we got to be discerning. We got to be careful with the men that we bring around our children. We're not victim blaming here. We're talking facts. Ladies, I am telling you, because my audience is largely female. I'm telling you, as a man, we are violent. I'm not telling you that we're bad. I'm not some feminist stuff. No, men and women are equal, and we need each other for us to achieve greatness. We need each other. But I'm telling you, as a man in law enforcement, that we are violent. We are dangerous. We can be. And it's up to you to be discerning, to be careful who you allow into your life. I know that's a burden that's not fair. It's like, well, why can't men just be good? No, well, guess what? It's obviously genetic. It's obviously nature. We have a predisposition for violence. So it's up to you to be discerning. It's up to you to be careful. Because, man, listen, there's some monsters out there, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk about one of those monsters here today, yet again, with Stephen Stearns. A few other things. Stephen Stearns' father reached out to me. He said that there was some inaccuracies that he didn't appreciate. He didn't say it like that, but in the video that we had did before about I think it was the video that I did about the missed opportunities, especially when we talked about whether Stephen Stearns came back to the apartment, to his parents' house or not, whatever. I'm interested to hear what he has to say. We always have a decent and respectful conversation, and he keeps talking to me, so I believe that I've always been fair with when I brought to you guys the conversations that we've had behind the scenes. So I told him, hey, it's the holidays. I'm a little busy. I'm going to get to you as soon as possible, which I am. So I'm going to send him an email today, find out when's a good time that me and him can get on the chat and talk. And hopefully tomorrow or the day after that, if he's still interested in talking, we'll talk to him. We'll see what's going on with what he feels are inconsistencies. And I will definitely bring that to you guys and let you guys know what he thinks. Like I said, guys, I'm fair. I'll always put other people's perspectives. If Jen Soto reaches out to me and says, hey, I want to talk to you, I don't want to go on your show, but I want to talk to you behind the scenes, I'll talk to her. And if she says, I want to talk to you in confidence, even though I don't owe her that, I'm not an attorney, I'm not her therapist, I'm not her priest, I'm not her husband, I don't owe her that. I'm a person that I like to believe I'd like to have good ethics. I would keep that conversation confidential. I would not tell you guys. But if she says, listen, you can talk about what we spoke about, I will talk about it, and I will try and be as accurate as possible because I'm trying to be fair, all right? And so I'm going to do the same thing for the Stearns that I've done before. I've never had Mr. Stearns hit me up via email or phone and tell me that, hey, when you reiterated the conversation that we had, it was not accurate and it was not clear and it was not fair. Not one time. Because I always make sure that when I tell somebody's side of the story, I say it as accurately as possible, because I don't have to change what people's words are. If I don't agree with you, I don't agree with you. I'll say your side of the story and I still don't agree with you. Or I'll try and counter it or whatever. You know, but it's always fair to represent what people have to say accurately. It's called having integrity. Even if you don't agree with it, still represent it accurately. That being said, big shout out to Tori with a $10 super chat. Says, you are the best, man. I appreciate you. Thank you. That means a lot to me coming from you guys, and the support that I get from you guys is amazing. So, guys, please hit that like button. I appreciate you guys for showing that love. And we're going to jump into the show. Let me set everything up over here on my end. And, all right, we're looking good. Let me move my picture over a little bit so that everything looks copacetic as we start the show. Perfect. I moved myself over. Great. Big shout out, Tori. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. And you guys don't know how much that support is needed. I just did a show on Hana Kobayashi, and we just literally did a walkthrough of a press conference. There was no cursing. There was no bodies shown. Nobody's dead. Nobody, none of that stuff. Why did YouTube demonetize that video? That video is literally demonetized. My Hana Kobayashi reacting to a press conference where police are saying that the person is alive. Well, guess what? That was demonetized by YouTube. Crazy. Insanity, ladies and gentlemen. So this is what we're up against. That's why we need a membership. That's why we need a Patreon. That's why we appreciate generous people like Tori who give us super chats and support the channel, and the people who hit up with the cash apps and the PayPal. Why? Because you know what? It takes money to run this show. It takes money to pay for the internet speed that's going to make you get a smooth live. It takes money for the software. It takes money for all that stuff. And YouTube, they don't do their part. They love to infringe on people's free speech, even when that free speech is not damaging. It's one thing if I'm on here talking about politics, talking about race relations, sexual orientations, and all that stuff. Okay, I get it. But I'm over here talking about true crime. And I did a show about a missing woman who we found out is not really missing anymore, and they demonetized me. What can I do? I can't fight that battle, guys. All right, so we're going to start off with, first of all, big shout out to one of my viewers who hit me up via email who caught this. And this is important here because I thought we were going to have the solution. I might have to change the title of the show. We kind of have the solution to the question we've been asking of, did Jen Soto actually go to Madeline Soto's school? So I thought I had the solution, but this interview here that this viewer found and gave me the timestamp and everything, it kind of puts that into question too. I don't know. We'll flesh it out, because I was kind of busy before starting this live. We'll flesh it out together. But big shout out to that viewer for sending me this video and the timestamp. If you see something that you think is interesting in these interviews, these videos, whatever, you have to tell me a timestamp. Don't even email me if you don't tell me the timestamp, because I don't have the time to go watch a 3-hour video to try and find the spot that you're talking about. I'm just too busy. So I appreciate all the tips. I want those tips. Please send me your tips. That's why we released the 501-page document dump on my Patreon weeks ago for free. We did that for you guys because we want you to go through it with your discerning eyes and to give us tips, because we could use those tips to give you content to flesh this through. So we appreciate that. But if you're going to watch a video, you have to give me the timestamp. Otherwise, I'm not going to review it because I don't have the time. I just don't. So anyway, this person did the right thing. They gave me a tip with a timestamp, and now we're going to listen to it. Let me bring this up, and let's do it.
That was just like the time you guys were celebrating.
That was the time we were celebrating. Her birthday was on Thursday, the 22nd.
Okay,
She just turned 13.
but that's just so heartbreaking to be celebrating her 13th birthday, and then the very next day, that's
gone.
the last you've seen of her.
Yeah.
I mean, where do you go now? Are you gonna go out there and search or look, or what is are you sticking by the phone? Are you what are you doing?
I'm staying at home, staying by the phone, hoping she just appears. I know my entire family's out looking. They've all spread a bunch of flyers. I've had people contact me that they've gone to the international airport to spread flyers, to Amtrak, to Greyhound, just any way that if someone's taken her and they're trying to take her, just to show her face, just to make sure, she's not being taken against her will.
And you mentioned ADHD. Was there anything else maybe mentally going on, or that you knew of?
She does suffer from anxiety, and once upon a time she was diagnosed with autism. We had her
So what I want you guys to listen is coming up. I just didn't want to start it right on it. I want to just let you get a little context. Somebody in the chat said YSL was found not guilty. I just looked it up. And YSL is a rap group, and they were indicted on murder charges. One of them was found now guilty. The other one's found guilty on one charge. I didn't read the article because I'm obviously doing a live, so I don't know what that one charge is. Very, very interesting how a lot of these celebrity cases are falling apart. And I was watching the Sarah Boone thing, not to go off topic, but just letting you know, maybe I'll talk about this on the members only or for the Patreon as well. I was watching Sarah Boone's statement, and it just rubbed me the wrong way. That lady literally is a narcissistic individual. Wow, that was the most wild, give me mercy statements before a court I've ever heard, ladies and gentlemen. I encourage you guys to go listen to it on your own. But anyway, let's keep going.
what's the word?
Brained, maybe?
Reevaluated.
Okay.
We had her reevaluated a few months ago, actually, and they told us, no, she didn't have autism, but she did have some autistic traits. She did have ADHD, some autistic traits, but not autism. So I'm not sure where to leave with that, because one doctor said she did and one doctor's saying she doesn't, and I don't know. She's just in the middle, I guess, because she does have some tendencies, but socially she's pretty great. So I'm not sure.
And with the video that you were able to see whenever your boyfriend dropped her off, where was that? Which video? Was that a surveillance camera?
Right here.
It was a surveillance camera from the church, Peace Church, right next to Hunters Creek Middle School.
And
Now, I have a question, because for some reason, I trust my memory. My memory, well, it was pretty good. I'm getting older. But I remember seeing that footage, but I've never heard anybody talk about that footage again. So I don't know if I'm mistaken or not, but did they actually release that footage for a very short period of time on the news? Because I think I saw that church footage. I believe so. So I'm throwing this out there to you guys. Am I wrong? Am I mistaken? Because, I mean, listen, we're watching a ton of different true crime. It might get jumbled or whatever. But I remember watching the news, and they didn't show the whole thing, like 5 minutes of it. It wasn't like a document dump release. It was kind of like a snippet of it. Like, this is the footage. And it was super grainy and, and you really couldn't make out that well the person that was inside of the footage, but I could be mistaken. Could have just been another one of the millions of videos that we watch both as entertainment wise when we're on YouTube and also in my real life when I'm out there watching video for these cases. So it's possible I could be mistaken. I'm just asking a question if anybody else can corroborate if a snippet of it or a still of it was shown on the actual news, and that would pretty much answer my question. Because if none of the 370 people who are watching this right now ever saw it, then I'm just mistaken. Anyway, please hit that like button, guys. We got 370 people watching this live stream, and we only got 87 likes. Come on, guys, at least give me 100 people who likes the show. I appreciate it. Please support the channel. All right, let's keep going. So now we're in it. She talked about the footage that she saw at the church. Let's see if she gets into the school.
You have that video?
I don't have that. They didn't show me. They wouldn't show me. It was actually my sister was the one at location, and they were letting her know what they saw on camera.
Okay.
But they didn't show it to any of us.
Got it. Okay.
All right, so people in the chat are saying they never showed the video, but they showed a photo. They did show still. I'm pretty good with stuff like that. And I remember that on the news, they showed a still. So they didn't show it in law enforcement or press conferences or nothing like that. But the news did see the still. And to let you guys know, there's nothing that prevents a property owner from giving video evidence that is their evidence, that their technology took, their cameras took, to the news. That's not against the law. You could give it to the law enforcement and you could give it to the news. So just because of this is a murder case, an SA case, all these things wrapped in one, that does not prevent that church from giving it to the news as well. And then the news will most likely listen to law enforcement, and law enforcement's like, hey, please don't release that. Then they won't release it. But there's nothing that stops that property owner from saying, I'm going to give this to the news as well. All right. There's nothing that seals that evidence and says that evidence cannot be distributed to news sources. All right. Just want to make you guys aware of that. So people are saying they did show a still, and I remember quite clearly in my mind's eye that I saw a still photo. So I think I might be right. So let's keep going.
Jen, is there anything else that you'd like to add?
Please, 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 if you have any information, contact me, contact law enforcement. Any information helps. Maddie, if you see this, please come home. Please be safe. I love you very much. If you have my Maddie, please just let her come home. We just want her home.
Good. So the first question is if I can have your last name, and so.
All right, so this is it right here. I think I pushed it back a little bit too further, but it's always good to go down memory lane and hear what people saw, because nobody's playing this video anymore. But it's important for us to see her demeanor and the things she said back then. So this is the moment now when the statement I want you guys to pay attention to is coming up. Let's go.
Both down for me.
Okay. Jennifer Soto, JENNIFERSOTO.
Mother.
Mother.
Jennifer, tell me how you feeling right now.
I feel like I can't breathe. All I keep thinking about is, where is she? Is she safe? Is she okay? But we're all a wreck. My entire family.
Just want to answer a question in the chat real quick. Foxy Amazon asks, even if there's a gag order. Gag orders is what's happening in court. Gag orders is the defendant can't speak, the judge can't, the judge can't speak, obviously, but the prosecutor can't speak about these things and all that stuff. Gag orders typically don't cover my evidence that I have, that's my property. That doesn't belong to the government. All right. If my video captures something, that's my property. Right. I'm the custodian of that footage, the owner of that footage, and I'm giving it to the government either willingly or through court order, but they simply get a copy of it. All right. So that gag order doesn't prevent people from giving footage that they own. It doesn't. Now, could there be some orders that they could maybe put out there to do that? I'm not an attorney. I can only tell you what I've experienced with. Maybe. But that stuff typically doesn't happen out there. You typically don't have, I remember one time a crime happened out of one of my investment properties, and I have video footage, and law enforcement was contacting me, the defense was contacting me, and the news contacted me, and I gave the footage to everybody. I gave a copy to law enforcement, I gave a copy to the defense attorney, and I surely gave a copy to the local news. So, I mean, nobody told me that I could not do it. In fact, I was slow to give a copy to the defense attorney, not because I didn't want to help him. Like, I believe that law enforcement should work hard for our cases. We should not just be throwing people away without investigations. So in my personal life and my professional life, I have the same opinion. I'm going to do my due diligence and do things the best way I can to be fair to everybody. It's just that I was busy, so I didn't have time to burn a copy. That defense attorney sent me some, boilerplate. If you do not, we will subpoena you and all that. I was laughing at the guy. I said, dude, I called him up. I was like, hey, dude, I'm a cop, right? I was like, you sending me this threat that I know you have no authority behind, because they can't really force you to do anything. They can't. And they know that, because if you threaten me and say, oh, I'm going to subpoena you to court and all that, I could just make the evidence disappear. That's what people do. That's why you always got to be nice. Like, hey, can you please give us that footage? You can just say it doesn't work, and that's the end of it. So he started laughing like, I'm sorry, it's just routine. Our paralegals send that out if we don't get a response with a certain amount of time. I apologize. And then I was like, I got it for you, man. Come, send your investigator, come pick it up. You can't really force people to do it. My point in telling you that story, you can't force people to give information out. You got to be kind, right? But anyway, let's keep going. Anyway.
It's a mess. We're just so worried.
When did you first realize, or when did you file a missing report?
We filed a missing report. We called the police at like 4:45 yesterday, 4:45 p.m. But she actually went missing early that morning, around between 8:45 and 9 o'clock in the morning. She went missing. We had dropped her off close to the school. She wanted to walk the rest of the way.
All right, hold on here. I want to bring it back a second, because before we get to, because we're trying to figure out if Jen Soto really went to the school. That's what we've been figuring out, like the last two shows or one show. I don't know. I don't keep count half the time. But in the last show, we talked about why I'm even questioning this. And I showed you guys a written statement that shows Jen Soto lying. That's why we don't believe her. If it was anybody else, I would not be wasting my time doing a show like this. But I have every right to make a show like this, because who trusts Jen Soto? Do any of you trust Jen Soto? 519 people watching right now. Do you trust Jen Soto? I don't trust Jen Soto. And why? Listen to the statement she's making right now, and that answers your question right now. Should we trust Jen Soto? But you got to keep that in mind to understand why we're asking these questions.
But we're all a wreck. My entire family is a mess. We're just so worried.
When did you first realize, or when did you file a missing report?
We filed a missing report. We called the police at like 4:45 yesterday, 4:45 p.m. But she actually went missing early that morning, around
Listen.
between 8:45 and 9 o'clock in the morning. She went missing. We had dropped her off close to the school.
We have dropped her off?
She wanted to walk the rest of the way.
I remember when this first came out, I said it was a parrot. It's not. It's a dog feeder. I was like, yo, is that a parrot in the back? What's going on here? I didn't know. A lot of people thought it was a parrot. It's a dog feeder. We dropped her off. She wanted to walk the rest of the way. First person, like she was there. We put herself in the car with Madeline and Stephen Stearns, the devil. She, as though you're a first person witness to what this little girl wanted to do. Lies. Let's keep going. Daughter's missing. You keep telling us your daughter's been sex trafficked by the Mexican mafia, just like Hannah Kobayashi. And I told you I was bullshit in the members only area. I didn't want to hurt the family and come and say that out to all of YouTube land. But I told y'all in the members in the Patreon, and Hannah Kobayashi is not missing. Hannah Kobayashi is on a drug trip or a mental health slide. That's what she's doing. She's going for her spiritual awakening. And what ended up happening? She's going to Mexico by herself. Same thing with this one. She says, oh, Mexican mafia. She didn't say Mexican mafia. I'm being a douchebag. She said, my daughter been kidnapped, possibly trafficked. The dog feeder goes off and she's smiling. Stop smiling, Jen.
That should be it. Sorry about that.
She's smiling.
We dropped her off at school, close to school.
We dropped her off. Again, she got a second crack at the apple. We dropped off. She said we before. The dog feeder came on. She had a good laugh. Now she got a second bite at the apple. And she says we once again. We know that that's a bold-faced lie. Let's keep
The
going.
rest of the way. I'm not sure what I'm allowed to share.
You
All
should
right.
whatever you feel comfortable
Here it is now. We're coming
sharing.
up on it.
I know you had conversations with detectives. Not sure what that conversation is, but whichever you feel comfortable sharing, that put the awareness out there.
Yeah, she was spotted walking by the church, by the middle school on the cameras. They saw her hang out in the parking lot for a little bit and then get up and leave. They didn't see a vehicle or anything else. They just saw her walk away around 9 a.m. heading towards the school,
Okay.
but she never made it.
What has the school said? Have you get in contact with the school?
Here we
Yes. That they're doing everything they can. They've given me all their resources. The principals called me. They've looked at their cameras. I don't think they've caught anything on the cameras that's too far away from the sidewalk. Everything is too grainy, so they can't see specific faces.
So this threw me for a loop. This statement right here threw me for a loop. And the reason why it threw me for a loop is because there's nothing that would tell me that she's lying about this. Why? Because there are people who could corroborate or push back on her statement. The school administrators. She says she spoke to the principal. The principal said that the cameras are too far away and it's really grainy and you can't really see. First of all, I mean, it is what it is, but if you places like schools that have this type of infrastructure that's protecting our most vulnerable children should have good video surveillance. But that's a different conversation. The point of it is that she's saying that they reviewed the cameras and that they're functioning and that the only issue is that the distance is too far, which makes people grainy, etc., right? But that's not what we see in the documentation later. So it's kind of throwing me for a loop. I'm going to go back just one more time and let her just say what she has to say one more time. Where we at, 3613? And then I want to go to the documentation because I'm really trying to figure this out. And people are asking good questions like, well, they got her phone. Couldn't the GPS from her phone say that she went there? Yeah, but I don't have that information. I don't have it. I don't have a printout. There was no document dump that shows her GPS coordinates because it comes out like a list of GPS coordinates. I don't see that in the dumps. I don't know if it was in the previous dump. If you guys have seen it, let me know. Send the email to me. Send me a page number. Send me the documents. But I don't see that. There's a subpoena I'm going to read for you guys later that's going to show that they're going to ask for GPS information from her car, her infotainment, etc. Once again, we see them request it, but we don't see the actual data. And I don't know why they would not release that data. They've released statements. They've released by accident that Madeline Soto was choked to death. They released all that stuff. They wouldn't release GPS coordinates. We already know where Jen Soto lives or where she used to live. We know where the school is at. We know where the church is at. We know where the McDonald's is at. We know where the decedent's body was placed. We know where he went in Northport. We have all this information. So what would you be hiding? And GPS coordinates don't give you apartment numbers. They just give you streets. They just give you the vicinity of the area that the person is in. So it's not like, well, we wouldn't release that because we don't want people's houses to be exposed. But everybody who's of interest in this case, their address is already out there. So we have not received the results of those GPS dumps that they took from the car and from the phones. So I can't definitively say that she was there. But anyway, let's let her play it again, and let's go to the documentation.
What has the school said? Have you been in contact with the school?
Yes, that they're doing everything they can. They've given me all their resources. The principals called me. They've looked at their cameras. I don't think they've caught anything on the cameras is too far away from the sidewalk. Everything is too grainy.
All right, so that also answers a question that other folks have been texting me like, hey, didn't Jen say she looked at the cameras? Somebody emailed me that as well. Well, the answer from Jen's mouth is no. I just bit my mouth a little bit. That hurt. The answer is no. Well, rather, I didn't bite my mouth. I pressed down on a spot that was already bitten, just to be accurate. Not that you even care. But anyway, Jen Soto said no. Jen said the principal called me and they told me that they reviewed the camera and the results that she spoke about. So she did not personally review those cameras, which nor would I have expected her to anyway. But somebody asked that question and that answers your question. Let's keep going.
So they can't see specific faces, but they've looked. I'm just waiting to hear anything else from them.
Is this normal behavior?
Not at all.
Just not show up or call or text or anything?
Not at all, no. She, from time to time, she will leave her cell phone at home accidentally, and that's actually what happened yesterday. She left her phone at home. She went to school. But that happens from time to time. She's got ADHD, her memory. She's very forgetful. So yeah, there's no way to track her right now because the detectives don't have her phone. But this is
How so convenient. Guys, when I'm telling you guys, when you're doing these cases, I mean, everything that could go wrong goes wrong. It's just the way it goes, man. I have a crime that happens right in front of a government camera that's set up because maybe this is a high crime area or something like that. Why did the crime happen underneath the camera and you can't see what happened? Why was maybe it's a PTZ camera and the camera could move around and swivel, and for months the camera was pointing westward, and some douchebag, no disrespect to whoever that douchebag is, maybe they're doing some other police investigation, whatever, they moved the camera and they put it somewhere else. Sometimes you see the camera pointing to the ground. Like, it's nothing probative there. It's literally pointing to the ground because some douchebag didn't put it back where it was supposed to be. And now the crime happened, and you're like, yes. You go out, you do your canvas. You're like, oh, shoot, there's a government camera there. There's a police camera there. We solved this case. And then you go back to your office and you review the camera, and you're like, oh, somebody had it pointing down. The day before, it was pointing in the right direction. The day of the crime, it's pointing down. And now I got nothing. Anything that can go wrong would go wrong. And that's... But a lot of times when that happens, ladies and gentlemen, you got to ask why. Isn't it so convenient that Stefan left his phone, Maddie left her phone, she's saying we dropped them off? Like, why are all these things happening that go against the interest of justice? The interest of justice. Maddie goes missing. She doesn't have a phone, so we can't track her. Stefan is the prime suspect. He leaves his phone. He takes his phone. He leaves his phone. He takes his phone. He leaves his phone. He resets his phone 3 times. 3 times. The only other witness that's like directly involved with these folks is the mother, and she's saying we dropped them off. How convenient. But anyway, let's bring the video back to me, and then let's go to the documentation. How so convenient. When you do investigations, you realize just how crazy the universe is, how anything that can go wrong typically goes wrong. It's amazing. Quite frankly, amazing. All right. So we'll start with this, then we'll go to the page that's going to kind of elucidate us on the status of the cameras. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. You keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. Put this up right here real quick. All right, so this is basically what I was talking about which is this affidavit they're asking for the GPS. Here we go. GPS, locations, infotainment systems that contain digital logs, providing information related to geolocation information, Bluetooth connectivity history, contact information, call history, any other device information provided by a digital device connection by searching any electronic devices capable of storing digital data to include the infotainment center by retrieving said digital data from these devices. That's what they're asking for. Where are they asking this from? They're asking it from the 2022 Nissan Sentra. Give me a second, guys. I want to look something up on my phone. I want to look something up. You guys know I don't like stopping the show. I like for the show to flow, but this is important. Big shout out to the 707 people who are watching this right now. I really do appreciate your support. Please also translate that support into hitting that like button so that we can get into that algorithm and we can be shown to a wider audience. We'll look this up real quick. 2022 Nissan Sentra. So just looking on Google, and this is their sponsored link, so you take it with a grain of salt because somebody's trying to sell a car, right? This is not the Kelly Blue Book and all that bull crap. Let me see if I can find the Kelly Blue Book. Let me see if I can find the Kelly Blue Book website. It's not coming up. Who cares? All right. 35,000 miles being sold right now. Somebody's selling this. Yorktown Heights. This is not my community. This is what's popping up on Google. It's New York, though, of course. They're going to do it in your geographical location. Like, this is Ramsey. This is New Jersey. It's in, like, your tri-state area. That's how the Google search works. So in Westchester County, New York, somebody's selling this car for $18,500 with 35,000 miles on it. 56,000 miles in New Jersey right now. They're selling this car for $15,000. 60,000 miles back in Westchester again. They're selling it for $16,000. 22,000 miles on it. They're selling it for $18,000. 14,000 miles. They're selling this same car, same model year for $20,000. Why am I throwing out the prices of this car? Why does this matter to me? Why does it matter to you? Because remember, this was a person that is unemployed, a person that's surviving off a disability, a person that can't maintain a job beyond a week or two, and they've got this amount of money, $20,000, to get a car, a brand new car. Should she have a car? Does being on disability mean you can't get a car? Of course not. Of course not. Everybody needs a car, depending on where you live. And if you live in an area where you don't have stores within walking distance, necessity will make you get a car. But she's got a brand new car. She's got a late model, brand new car, ladies and gentlemen. And supposedly, she doesn't have any money. She's surviving off a disability. And remember, she had a doctor's appointment to give blood the day that she had to call in this man from 3-4 hours away in Northport to come help her with Maddie. She had a doctor's appointment at 10:30, and after that, she had a Botox appointment. And it wasn't a medical Botox appointment. Some people say, oh, you get migraines and you get Botox, blah, 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 blah. No, this was not medical. Botox is not covered by insurance. I did my research. It's not covered. And if she doesn't have a job, what type of insurance is covering her? Remember, she just got the Disney job. Very rarely does your job cover you right away. Most jobs, it takes them a week or two, sometimes even a month to get your health insurance coverage started. Mind you, she was working part-time. She wasn't full-time, so she may not have even been covered by Disney, period. What kind of insurance was she had? Or rather, did she have? She's on disability. She's probably got Medicaid. Does Medicaid cover Botox injections for migraines? And where's the medical report that says she even suffered from migraines? So we could assume, in the absence of having facts, that she was getting that Botox for herself for cosmetic reasons. So she's got Botox money and brand new car money. And that just really stood out for me. But anyway, let's go to the documentation I wanted you guys to see. I think it's page 23. It's page 23. It's Investigator Acevedo. And they report on March 4th, 2024, I was instructed by the lead detectives in the case to obtain footage from the victim's school located at 13400 Town Loop Boulevard, Orlando, Florida, Hunters Creek Middle School. The dates, times indicated to me to obtain from the location was for February 26, 2024, from 1400 to 1640 hours. I made contact with the school resource officer, Deputy Martin, at the school. Deputy Martin was unable to view the date and time requested and provided me with a point of contact, David Garver, and an email address. So David Garver is the custodian of the video footage, apparently. Deputy Martin was able to provide me with the specific camera angles that were labeled in the system to make the request. Now let's keep reading because we're going to get more information. Let me zoom this in a little bit because my old eyes. 40 now. I'm a dinosaur. Big shout out to the dinosaur crew inside of the chat. Those who know, know. Through the course of communication via email, Kimberly Harrell from the Orange County Public School District requested a subpoena for the footage, which I obtained on 3/5/2024. That I never understood that. Same thing in my municipality. You need a subpoena. Why is government requiring other government to get subpoenas to get information on criminal investigations? I don't understand that. It doesn't make sense to me. I understand private entities, yes. But why does government require government to get a subpoena for an official government investigation? Makes no sense to me. It's just bureaucracy, if you ask me. Anyway, let's keep going. I encountered this myself in the real world. All right, I provided them with the subpoena along with the business record certification and time verification form. I provided Kimberly links for the footage requested to go directly into evidence.com. Kimberly advised me of some corrupt video files during the time frame requested and provided me with a list with the time frame and cameras that were corrupt. I provided this information to the lead detectives. I did not review any of the footage obtained. I obtained a signed business record certification timestamp verification form, which will be attached to this report. This is very interesting, ladies and gentlemen. Two things could be going on here. Either A, the corruption of the video footage is as a result of the video footage transfer to whatever medium they're using, whether they're uploading it to some type of cloud or they're using a medium like a USB or something, or some type of portable hard drive. Or the file is corrupt on the system, which then would mean that the system is not viewable, that the video is not viewable from the actual source. When we listen to Jen Soto's account to the news, she said that she was assured by the principal that they reviewed the video and the video works, but the quality is not good because of the distance of the people that they were trying to view to see if it was Maddie. It's like, oh, it's too grainy. The quality of video is not good. Bad quality video is totally different than a corrupt video file. A corrupt video file is not viewable at all. So my question is Jen not being truthful about what the principal told her, or is she being honest and the file is just not viewable? Now, when you find out that the video is not viewable from the investigator's standpoint, because we're not getting any more information after this, so it's really not answering our question. You're supposed to then try and get the video again. I don't see any type of documentation in this dump. And this is not the totality of the investigation. Maybe it's going to be in a future dump. But I don't see any investigative materials that say, well, we tried to re-download the video, or we got a preservation order. We gave that preservation order to the school. They've shut down their camera system so that the video footage isn't written over. And then we've gotten a search warrant, and we're actually going to go and remove their hard drives, their DVRs, to take it back to our, electronic analysis unit or whatever, and have them try and remove the footage from the hard drive. I've not seen that. It looks like, hey, we got the video, says it's corrupt. We uploaded it to evidence.com, which is the medium that they use to store their evidence. That's the end of it. Where's the follow-up to see if they can actually get uncorrupted data from the video source? Or re-download it and see if it's not going to be corrupted? I find that very odd. It's almost like they let this lead die. And because of it, I thought that I'd be able to come on here today and say that it's solved. Jen Soto went to the school. But I can tell you that the police actually tried to get information to see if Jen Soto went to the school. They tried to subpoena the video footage. They have issued subpoenas for her GPS location, etc. But there's no definitive proof that she actually went. Because I have questions here, because I feel like, is it possible that she did go to the school? Because my mind's eye tells me she probably went to the school. The issue that I have, ladies and gentlemen, and what I want to discount is not if Jen necessarily went to the school. It's for what purpose? Because I don't trust Jen. You guys know I don't trust Jen. I've given you concrete evidence as to why you should not trust Jen. Because Jen is a liar. So let's just blow this whole show up. Just blow it up. Let's get this document from behind me. Let's blow the whole show up. Like, what is strategic talking about? You want to blow the show up? Let's blow the whole show up. Let's say Jen went. Jen went to the school. She went to the school. She stopped by the school. But I still got an issue, guys. My issue is, why did she go to the school? Did she go to the school because she legitimately went to pick up her daughter? Or did she go to the school because she needed an alibi? Did she go to the school because it fit with the narrative that maybe, allegedly, her and Stephen Stearns crafted with each other? Nobody trusts Jen. I don't trust Jen. Most of you don't trust Jen. Stephen Stearns' family don't even trust Jen. They think that she was a part of the CSAM and all that stuff, and possibly the murder, from some of the interviews that they've had before. And her own statements do not line up as somebody who is a concerned mother. Her statements line up as somebody who's trying to protect a murderer and a CSAM producing child graper. That's what her statements align with. So I wanted to see the video because most reasonable parents would have driven to the school. They would have stopped in the school. They would have turned their car off. They would have exited the car. They would have went to the first administrator that they could find and say, yo, listen, my daughter hasn't come out to school yet. What's going on? And they would stay there until they got an answer, the answer that allegedly Jen got later on. Now, we know from hearing from people whose loved ones attend this school that the school has an after-school program, so the school is not closed at 4 o'clock on a dot. There are people in the school all the way till 6:30 p.m., if not longer. So most reasonable people would stay at that school till they got an answer as to where their child is. We also know that Jen Soto worked at that school as a substitute teacher on multiple occasions. So she knew the administrators, she knew the staff, she knew the layout of the school, she knew the procedures of the school, because she worked at the school as a substitute teacher with a temp agency. So what do I want to see with that footage? What do I want to see? I want to see if she got out the car. Because to me, if she just drove to the school, which is most likely she did, guys, I'm asking a question, but I'm willing to concede most likely she went to the school. But to me, if she goes to the school and she stays in her car, it's an alibi. It's a ploy. It's a deflection. because most reasonable people would leave that car and go ask some questions. If Jen Soto didn't leave her car and ask questions, she went there to be caught on camera, to be a part of the alibi that her and Stephen Stearns was putting together to try and get him off of murder. In my opinion. That's my opinion. Jen might be in her home watching the show right now like, man, I hate Strategic, but I love his show. I can't miss a show. I can't miss a show, the Strategic Eyes show, but I hate him though. He's so wrong. He's got it all wrong. Well, Jen, come on the show and let's talk about it. Come on the show, let's talk about it. You don't have to come on the show, in fact. Let's talk about it behind the scenes. Educate me, Jen. Explain to me what happened that day. I need to see her get out that car, ladies and gentlemen, because if I don't see her get out that car, I'm thinking that she simply went there to be caught on camera to play into this narrative that it sounds like she's just regurgitating, a narrative that appears that either she came up with it herself for Stephen Stearns, or Stephen Stearns came up with it and gave it to her to regurgitate, or they came up with it together. Don't they sound like accomplices when the police say, hey, this guy's got his pee-pee in your daughter's mouth, and the first thing you go do is say, hey, listen, Daddy Stearns, they got pictures of your son doing some bad things to my daughter. I think you should get him a lawyer. Doesn't that sound like an accomplice to you? All right, let's give her out. If it's not accomplice kind of behavior, then it certainly is horrible, terrible mother behavior. You pick your poison. It's not something a normal human being would do, ladies and gentlemen. So that's why I'm asking this question. And the more I ask this question, the less answers I get. At least the police have not given us the answers that we're looking for. We don't have the GPS dump, and we don't have the video footage. And apparently, not even the police has the video footage. So we're the witnesses now. We'll give a quick shout out real quick to Abigail Rose, who's now a 1-month subscriber. She's celebrating her 1-month anniversary. Thank you so much, Abigail. If that's your picture that you have inside of your that is a representation of who you are. You're a very beautiful person, and thank you so much for taking the time to not only give me your time, but also to break bread with me. Thank you so much, Abigail. And she says, thanks for all you do. And I got to throw that right back at you and every other member, Patreon member, everybody who just subscribes to the channel and just watches me. Thank you for all that you do in supporting me on my journey to spread awareness and to give you guys my expertise. This is my life's work. This is what I do. You know, I like this jacket. You know, I've lost a lot of weight, so I can fit this jacket good now. Actually, it's a little bit too big now. So I'm going to pair it with a nice shirt and tie. And in a couple of hours, I'm going to be out there trying to save lives and trying to bring justice, trying to give a voice to the voiceless. That's what I'm going to be doing in a couple of hours. So this is real for me. This is not entertainment. This is my life's work. And I appreciate you guys giving me the platform to be able to speak my truth and my experience to you guys. And that means a lot to me. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Because, you know, I'm going to get back on the topic, guys. And I apologize. But this is from the bottom of my heart here. And I apologize if shut up and talk about Maddie. But I've been doing YouTube for a very long time. And I know what it's like to give your heart to something and only 20 people are watching. That was my life for a long time, for 3 years. 20, 30, a good night, 40, 50 people. And now look at us now. We got 821 people watching. Believe me, I don't ever take that for granted. I know what the grind is. I'm never going to look at that and think, oh, these 820 people need to be watching me. I'm God's gift to them. No. You are God's gift to me. You guys are giving me an opportunity to, this is a dream of mine, to be a podcaster, to give my expertise to the world. This is something that I appreciate. You guys are giving me that platform. And I don't take that for granted 1 minute. You owe me nothing. I owe you everything. And that's why I try my best to give you my all when I come on this platform. So thank you very much. And I just needed to say that. And I apologize if I derailed the show, but I needed to tell you guys that. You guys are amazing. And I'm nothing on this platform, at least, without you. In the real world, I'm a dad. In the real world, I'm a hero to the people that I serve, and I'm a demon to the people I lock up. I don't mind being that type of demon. I'll be a demon to the pedophiles any day. But on this platform, I'm nothing without you guys, and I never forget that. Big shout out to Tori with a $10 super chat. Another one says, excuse me if this is a dumb question. There's no such thing as a dumb question, Tori. Well, let's keep going. She says, but as a fellow Leo, thank you for your service, Tori. Thank you so much for being a Leo, being a hero out there on those streets. Are you allowed to call these detectives and tell them what you are noticing and brainstorm with them? Sorry if that is an obvious no. I mean, I could call anybody I want to, but will they want to hear from me? No. You know, I doubt it. I've said it before on this channel, though. I would like to meet Detective Kevin. I think he's an amazing investigator, amazing detective. I loved his interrogation of Jen Soto, and I'd like to take him to lunch. I will give myself a 2-day or 3-day. We're not going to do 2 days. It's ridiculous. I'll give myself a 3-day vacation. I'll fly myself out to Orlando. And, yo, Kevin, listen, I'm a family man. I'm not trying to come on to you, Kevin, here. Don't look at me like that, Detective Kevin. All right? I like the ladies. I would like to come out there and take you to lunch, my brother. I would like to come out there, take you to lunch, and definitely just pick your brain on your process. You know, how do you get prepared for an interview like you did with Jennifer Soto in that soft interview room? You know, what is your process that gets you from point A to point B? Because what we saw was a masterful process that detective took to start her off and then to get to the point where he's asking her accusatory questions. And he worked her so well, he did something that those other detectives, those Kissimmee detectives, couldn't do, which is make her not lawyer up. They were asking accusatory questions against Jennifer Soto, and she did not lawyer up not one time. Yet, as soon as these dudes in Kissimmee had Stephen Stearns sit in that room for 4 hours, which is insane. You never let somebody sit in a room for 4 hours, because what is that defense attorney going to say? It was cruel and unusual. They tortured him. He was sitting there for 4 hours and he never used the bathroom. And he only had 1 cup of water. The average human being drinks 18.5 ounces of water. They get like that in court. They'll bring the science out. And he only had 1 cup of water and he only used the bathroom 1 time. My client was under duress. You don't let somebody sit in an interview room for 4 hours. Somebody was like, yeah, they did the right thing. Well, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm sorry. You don't know what you're talking about. They let him sit there for 4 hours. Then they go talk to him. And when he asks, well, should I be talking to somebody? I don't know. That's what the detective said. You think that detective wants me to tell him that? He gonna say, I watch your show, Strategic. I hate you, but I watch your show. F you, go screw yourself. And I say, well, dude, I'm probably one of the few people who could say, listen, we handle big cases where I work, buddy. We handle big cases where I work. I'm not some amateur telling you how to do business. I'm a pro, just like you. So you might want to sit down and listen a little bit. He's not going to want to hear that. But Detective Kevin, man, if anybody knows Detective Kevin, tell him Strategic Eyes, man. He wants lunch. Lunch is on me. We'll go get some alligator. They got some delicious alligator meat down there, and we will talk about this case. And I want to pick your brain, bro. I want to pick your brain because there's nothing I could critique you on. You did a masterful job in your interview of Jen Soto. And I think the biggest mistake that happened in this case is when the Kissimmee Police Department took over the investigation instead of allowing the Orange County Sheriff's Department to continue the investigation. They're already 90% through the investigation. They found everything. Why switch it to the Kissimmee Police Department just because of jurisdiction? The sheriff has jurisdiction over the whole county anyway. You know, I understand that probably they should have been the lead in terms of Kissimmee, but Orange County had already went through the entire investigation. What was the point? And then obviously you brought inferior detective. I'm sorry, no disrespect to any of you guys who may be watching this, but listen, your skills aren't on par with Detective Kevin. It is what it is, okay? We listened to these folks and they just weren't doing a good job. It should have stayed where it was at, and I think maybe we could have got a confession from Stephen Stearns. I think Stephen Stearns could have given us a confession. I think if I was in the room with Stephen Stearns, I could have got a lot more out of him. And I don't want to be egotistical or anything like that, but guess what? If you're a detective, you have to have a little bit of an ego. society's asking you to go into a room with a psychopath and try and get the truth out of that psychopath. If you're not confident in yourself, you can't go in that room with that psychopath and have that conversation. So every detective has a little bit of an ego on them, and it's healthy and it's necessary. It's a part of the job. So I'm not trying to be egotistical, but I believe, and I could be totally wrong because I'm not there, so it is what it is. We'll never know. But I believe that with my approach, that I could have got more out of Stephen Stearns. A whole lot more than what those Kissimmee detectives got. And I thoroughly believe that if Detective Kevin, that's what we call him, whatever his real name is, if Detective Kevin went into that interrogation room with Stephen Stearns, I think he would have got a whole lot more out of him as well. Wow. That was a long-winded answer to a $10 super chat. I appreciate you. Sorry about that. All right, so you know what? I want to take some calls. That's what I'll do. I'll take some calls and then we'll get out of here because it's a little bit early. We just had an hour mark, and I didn't give you a show yesterday. I didn't give you my typical show yesterday. I gave you a late night show last night. And we usually do our call-in shows on Sundays, and since we didn't do a typical call-in show on Sunday, we're going to do one today. So give me a second. Let me set this up. And if there's anybody who's willing to call in, we'd love to hear from you. We can talk about anything you want to talk about, and we can certainly talk about what we're featuring today. But we could talk about anything. If you have questions for me about cases or something, I'll definitely answer them to the best of my ability. And we could just we could chat it up. I'm over here trying to get the software open. I'm sorry. My brain could only do one thing at a time. Okay. Perfect. It's loading up right now. Then we'll get you guys a phone number. Aki's like, we didn't talk about this. You didn't tell me we're doing a call-in show. I'm not ready. She's not saying that. I'm just teasing her. Stay teasing, Aki. All right. Let's go. So here's the phone number. I'd like to hear from you guys. Take a couple of calls before we call it a day. And then after that, go iron some shirts, go to the post office. I've been so busy, I didn't even get the opportunity to mail out the winner of our sweepstakes, their T-shirt. I'm going to mail that out today. So look for your email today. I'll do it with tracking as well. I paid a little extra to get you some tracking. So if you're watching the show right now, I will definitely mail it out today and get you your tracking. And you'll get your shirt soon. And then I'm going to be setting up a members-only live. A members-only live. And the purpose of that members-only live is we're going to be doing another raffle for the members only to give away a free Strategic Eyes T-shirt, okay? So we did one for everybody, and some lucky person won, and they emailed me. I have their information. I'll make sure I get your shirt out today. And we're going to do a members-only live in the next couple of days. And I encourage you to come to make sure if you're a member that you join that live, because it's only going to choose the people who are in the live at that time. So if not that many people show up, then only a small portion of people are going to be in that raffle, and that lucky winner will get it. So make sure I'm going to schedule it today for Friday. I'm just going to pick Friday. It doesn't have to be a long live. And make sure that you come on, and make sure that you get that opportunity to get that free Strategic Eyes shirt. All right. And the last giveaway I'll give before the end of the year, because you guys have been very generous to me and the show is growing, I think I might give away some money. I'm just like that. If God ever makes me rich, I will be known as one of the greatest philanthropists that ever existed in humankind. I'll bring it back to the robber baron days, you know, the Rockefellers and the Kennedys and all of them. Those folks were the robber barons, but what they also did was they gave a lot of charity away. That's why you got so many universities named Rockefeller, and research centers and hospitals and Kennedys and libraries and all this stuff. That's the type of guy I am. I will give money away to needy people. I wish I was rich. I wish I was rich so I could help people more, so I could build institutions that will help people for generations. If I was a billionaire, I'd already be building my second hospital. I'd be building my own university. This is the things I would spend my money on. No knock to Elon Musk and all these people building rockets and all that. That's important too. But I would build infrastructure. I would build institutions that help people. All right. Hold on here. I'm trying to answer it. Here we go. All right. Sorry, I was having problems answering it. How you doing? Welcome to Strategic Eyes Show. What's going on, caller?
Strategic! Oh my! Yay!
I love your
I'm so
energy.
excited to talk to you.
Well, I'm excited to have you.
Katie from East Texas.
Okay, Katie, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, hon?
I'm doing great, man. It's great to be here. Great to be talking to you. What you got for me?
This is so funny because I was just telling my husband last night he's not really into true crime. We were talking about the Daniel Penny case going on. I was like, you got to check out Strategic Eyes on YouTube. And he's like, I will when I get home. He's a firefighter, so when he gets off work today.
You tell him that I said thank you for his service.
I will.
Firefighters
I
do
will.
a very difficult job, man. Very difficult.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. And so do you. So we appreciate you. And I told him you're a real life policeman. You walk the walk and talk the talk. So
Appreciate
you're not
that.
just a YouTuber. I have a burning question I've been meaning to ask you since I started watching you on this Jen Soto case. Madeline Soto, excuse me. Don't mean to disrespect.
Well, I mean,
Madeline,
in
but
Jen
yeah.
Soto's world, it is all about Jen Soto. So you wasn't that far off the
What?
mark.
No. What is the number one thing that bothers you about their quote unquote story? What's the number one thing that sticks out to you that screams red flag?
I mean, it's a loaded question. There's so many. There's so many. But I guess
I know, but
at the end of the day, it all boils down to parenting. I just don't understand how. And a lot of people on the internet will make excuses for Jen, and I don't begrudge those people. Many times when people comment about these stories, it's because they see themselves in it. And when you talk about true crime, you talk about sex crimes, there's a lot of parents who were victims of sex crimes who'll be watching this. There's a lot of people who were in Jen Soto's position where their child was molested by somebody else. So they'll get defensive for Jen Soto because they were there. The thing that I can't wrap my head around is how Stephen Stearns could be abusing this child for so long and Jen Soto not know. Is it possible for it to happen a year, 2 years? Sure, maybe. I've seen it before. But we're talking about 4 to 5 years of this child being abused in the manner she was abused, in a way that you would typically be able to pick up when you get physical examinations. Like, as a parent of young children, we don't want to talk about stuff. It's kind of weird, but I don't care. We've all seen our children naked. We've all cleaned our children's,
Absolutely.
nether regions when they're babies and they can't do it themselves. You would see if something's amiss with a child, with a grown man abusing a child. That's going to change and hurt those nether areas. How could she not know?
Yes. Especially when you have a daughter. I mean,
daughter,
good Lord, And it's it's her only child. B, she doesn't work hardly at all. C, they're in a very small condo where they only use so many rooms.
Right.
That's what bothers me about that. It's just because we live there's just the three of us. My older two kids are gone, so we downsized. And I just have a 12-year-old at home. I hear when he sneezes in the other room.
Right.
How can you tell me even with all the doors shut, like we can only turn up the TVs a certain amount in each room so we don't drown each other out. You know what I mean? So I hear him sneeze. I hear him flush the toilet.
Yeah.
I hear him everything. So that's what really, really bothers me too about that in that house, that you didn't know that was going on for all those years in that small environment, and you're there all the time.
Right. And not to get, I have to say this because people, they get triggered, but it needs to be said, but not to get too deep in the weeds, but we're talking about full-blown abuse. We're not talking about just touching. So there's going to be pain involved. There's going to be noise. There's going to be, how could you not hear your child in pain? How could you not hear your child being abused? That's the thing. That's why I go so hard on Jen Soto, because my parental sensibilities, my professional sensibilities, and the human side of me can't wrap my head around in that. It just doesn't make sense.
I can't either. And I will let you go so you can talk to somebody else, but I appreciate you. That to me too, just as coming from a mother, that to me would just, oh, I just can't. I really hope something happens. She gets charged with something, but
Not
you
gonna
know, who
happen.
knows?
Yeah.
So,
All right. Thank you so much. I got somebody waiting in the
all
background.
right, honey.
Appreciate you. All right. Did it go through? Hello. All right, let's do that. Welcome to Strategic Eyes Show. Is it working? Hello?
Yes, it's
Perfect.
working.
Hey, how you doing there? What's your name and where you calling from?
I'm your favorite behavior analyst calling from Oregon.
Hey, what's up, Sarah?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing all right. What you got for me?
I just wanted to say I do remember from the probable cause affidavit
Okay.
that Stefan was at the residence at 2:40.
Okay.
So if that's a fact, and it was alleged that he was talking to Jen in the line of the school, and that Jen had brought Maddie's phone to her, could they not ping either one of their phones and just to say, yes, we can put a pin in it and say she was at the school? I know that doesn't answer all the questions.
Yeah, I mean, certainly I would imagine that they should know by now, just based off of the subpoenas that they put out there, they should know whether she was at the school. But that's why, truly, that's why I shared with you guys in the audience my secondary questions. It's not so much whether she went, because common sense will tell me she most likely went. Even liars tell a little bit of the truth some of the times. That's what makes a lie believable. So I do believe she probably went. But my question is, what was the motive of her going? And for me, I will be willing to say that she went there as a concerned parent to find her child if she got out her car and actually asked questions, etc. But I feel like if she just went, stayed in her car and then drove off, then to me that was some type of, that's just her setting up an alibi, or, hey, look, I went, I tried, But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I think
true.
Definitely they probably know. We just haven't gotten that information yet.
Yeah, that would be helpful information to know. I agree.
Absolutely. All right.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Thanks for calling in, and thank you for your constant contribution.
Sure.
Somebody else is calling.
You got it.
Where'd you go? Somebody was calling and they hung up. Oh boy.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. All right. Where you at? Where you at, caller? Oh, there you go. Perfect. Hey, listen, guys, when you guys hear me ending the call with the other person, don't hang up. Just keep calling and I'm just switch over right to you. How you doing, caller? Welcome to Strategic Eyes Show.
Hey, I didn't know you had like a waiting system or anything. Let me put you on mute here. I'm sorry.
Sure. Appreciate you.
Oh, here you go. Okay. Yeah, without getting into too much triggering detail, I mean, the thing that bothers me the most, and we talked about like her taking her to the doctor or not knowing, or allegedly not knowing this was happening to her. I think the constipation issue is like way too much for, I think that having the things that were happening to her, I can only imagine, that might be part of it. And the other thing that bothers me is just like, with all these people in the family, not even Jen, but like his parents and stuff like that, aside from the roommates, it's like everybody are just like, oh, really? Like, oh, that happened, really? It's almost like it was so easy for them to believe it, And, and even though his mother, Stefan's mother, like, kind of still backs him up on things, I feel like. Even with her, she didn't bust out, like, sobbing, like, no, my son, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
They all just, it's a whole messed up area. And I was wondering also if you knew any more about how, in the beginning, we were talking about how he might be doing some dealings with these other PDF files that are out there in that area. Remember?
Okay, yeah. We talked about, is there a connection between these folks? Yes. Interesting
has
stuff.
There been any more evidence of that?
No, it's not. And, the funny thing is with that is that when you start getting with CSAM on the internet, it becomes a federal issue. It's usually not handled by states. Like if you get this CSAM on a computer, then that's handled by, like, it's local. Then that's being handled by your local government. But when it's talking about sharing it over digital lines, that's a federal issue. So there's a possibility that the feds could be looking into this and we just don't know about it. But no,
Well,
nothing has come out that shows a
With
connection.
that much like visual documentation, photos and all that, I can't imagine that was all for him. I really just can't.
Well, we know it's not. Well, that might not be true. His type of psychopath, they are collectors. They do. They collect.
Like an obsessive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. This is
I
their
work
trophies.
in mental health and
Right.
I work in mental health and I used to track the sex offenders on the registry. I think I might have talked to you before. I told you that, but they're just it's disgusting. But and a lot of people don't want to deal with it. But I think if you can deal with it, then you should, because somebody has to. Just like how somebody has to do it, do your job.
Right.
And I think that a lot of us that watch these shows specifically about Maddie and about these types of situations, a lot of us have been through that in our own personal lives, and we're searching to find an answer. You know what I mean? Like we're trying to but we keep re-traumatizing ourselves by watching this kind of content. But I think we're all just really trying to find an answer, not just about Maddie, but of things that have happened to us.
Well, at the end of the day, the only place you're going to find that answer is within yourself, through healing. Right. And so I would definitely encourage anybody, like for me, I talk about this because this is my career. This is my life's work, but if there's somebody who's watching this because they want to kind of make sense of their own trauma, do somebody else's trauma. I'm not a therapist, but I don't think that's a healthy way of going about it. I think you need to go to therapy.
Yeah.
You need to confront what happens to you.
It's not.
And find a way to move forward. And then come
I
and
think sometimes it's a little bit unconscious or subconscious drive to gravitate towards things that are in your wheelhouse. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But you have a great show, and I'm very happy to get to talk to you again and keep doing what you're doing, because you're doing great.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. All right, let's go to the next caller.
Thank
you. All right, caller. I see you. What's going on, caller? Welcome to Strategic Eyes Show. What's your name and where are you calling from?
From Wisconsin.
Okay.
This is Amber.
Hello, Amber.
Hi.
How old are you, Amber?
I would do a call.
Amber, we have an age limit on this show. How old are you, Amber? Because you sound like you're 12.
33. No, 33.
I'm messing with you. Go ahead. What you got for me?
Normally, I wouldn't call in, but there was something that I've kind of mentioned on other podcasts for comments that I really thought was odd, that seems like it gets overlooked. But in that interview with Jen Soto and Kevin, he mentions, because you remember she says several times how Maddie leaves her phone all the time.
Okay.
Well, he mentioned how they looked up Maddie's normal location on her phone and how often it really gets left at home.
Okay.
And that he calls her out on it and says that actually doesn't happen. And then Jen obviously keeps trying to push. And to me, it almost seems like she was pushing that narrative. Right.
Because it helps Stefan. It helps him.
I felt, not just that. I felt like she knew enough to push that narrative for Stefan, because it's like part of their alibi.
Right.
Yeah. To see that it's very common for her to constantly leave her phone at home. And then when he calls her out, kind of like, it's that guilty knowledge where she doesn't normally, but if you say she does, it kind of explains why both of them leave their phone at home.
Right.
Like it wasn't a rare occurrence.
Now, I don't recall this part of the conversation, and I just, there's so much information, things get glossed over. If you could do me and the show a favor and actually get us the timestamp, it's very important.
Yeah,
and we could actually.
Fine, Yep. And I don't know how to send it to you.
Just email it. Strategic Eyes with a Z. It's in the bio of all of my videos. The email address. Okay. Just email me and just give me the link for the video and just the timestamp, whatever time it is, and we'll take a look at it, and we might even talk about it on the show, because that's huge right there, because it's another instance of her lying.
That's what I thought. I'm thinking, like, when he first said that, I'm like, that seems pretty important that she knows that that's not very common. And the fact that she's still trying to push the fact that she does, I feel like, you know, it just seemed like a big part of the puzzle that just kind of got overlooked. And I think it goes with not just that, but the fact that she's knowingly and willingly lying.
Right.
Not just for Stefan, but I think that kind of also kind of shows that she's also trying to cover her. I'm not going to cuss, but herself.
Right. They demonetized me anyway, but go ahead.
But I just feel like it seems like it was more like she was protecting herself rather than, like, I know she was protecting Stefan, but if you notice, she was willing to throw Stefan under several times if it meant saving herself too. So ultimately, I felt that it wasn't to protect Stefan, and I felt like it was a big piece. And then, not to mention, he mentioned it, but then he kind of let it go and continued on. And I think he should have pressed her more on that because, you know, it wasn't just her word, you know, he was saying that they had looked up the phone location and her phone history, and that it never showed that she really that she always had her phone, that she never really left her phone.
Right. Now you can recall this. I can't. So you're saying that he challenged her on that, correct?
Barely. So he brought it up. He said that he pretty much did call her a liar. He said that is not normal. Okay. We've looked at her history.
So what was her response?
That she really does. And then she broke into the ADHD thing. Right. And then he kind of went over it and continued on.
So when you're doing an interview interrogation like this, it's being recorded. You know it's being recorded. Sometimes the subject doesn't know they're being recorded. He just basically challenged her on the inconsistency of her statement, and then she did not have a truthful answer to it. You can, but you shouldn't try and press it, because then that can make the person want to lawyer up. So he kind of basically said,
I understand that, and I knew that, but my thing is I just didn't understand why it wasn't being more looked into. Right. Not to mention nobody else is seeming like to bring that up. Right. And because I do feel like that's a big part of the story, because it, like, all the way from the beginning to her first interview, it's, oh, she left her phone, like she doesn't have her phone with her. Right. And it was just kind of like, it seemed like part of their alibi or part of their story since the very beginning. And so I really feel like it's a big piece that they should either do more looking into or pushing on, maybe now so much because she's already got a lawyer.
Well, she's not getting charged. But this is what I'm thinking about what you're saying, all right? I think it's a really good catch you got, but I don't think it's a big part. I think it just falls in line with her consistent lies and deception. It's just another thing that she has said that basically is designed to protect Stefan and possibly herself as well. So, but yeah, I do want to, if you could just do me that favor, and I'll definitely give you some love and some credit, just find that timestamp, send it to me so we could talk about this some more, so I could hear it for myself and actually dive into it with the same authority that you're diving into it. All right? Appreciate you. Yeah. Really good catch, man. Good job. All right. Let me catch the next one. You got it. All right. All right, next caller. What's going on? That's a really good call. Good job on her part. How you doing there, caller? Welcome to Strategic Guy Show.
Really good call. Good job on her part.
Got them all. Hello. How you doing? You got to mute me in the background, buddy.
Oh, okay.
Sure.
Let me tell you. Let's see.
All right, perfect. How you doing, man? Welcome to the show.
All right. Hey, thanks for having me.
All right, we can still hear you in the background. It comes over really bad on our end. So just turn it off or something, or put it very, very, very low.
Oh, okay. All right, turn it all the way down.
All right, thank you so much, sir. So what's going on? What you got for me? First of all, where you calling from, and what's your name?
I'm calling from Utah. My name's Thomas Ingebrigtsen.
All right, perfect, man. Utah. I haven't heard that before. What you got for me, Utah?
Hey, I was thinking that was probably Jen that was at the church on that grainy video. And I was thinking that they drugged her and they Because if you remember, the cadaver dog didn't hit on Stefan's car. It hit on Jen's car. And I think I think it was just elaborate. They were going to like stage a kidnapping to probably cover for her being pregnant.
Okay.
And they never intended it for her to pass away. You know what I mean? They were planning on recovering her. They didn't take her out and drop her, and then all of a sudden somebody would find her. And then I think that's why they didn't show that much concern in the beginning.
Well, why do you think they would do that? Would that be to blame the pregnancy on the phantom kidnapper?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And so I think it went south, though, because when he got that flat tire, that really messed things up. So I don't think he was able to drop her off at that time. So he took her back to the apartment, and eventually ended up maybe he went and put her in her car when she was getting her blood test. And then later that day, he went and dropped her. You know what I'm saying? After she passed away in Jen's trunk.
Okay. Listen, every theory is an interesting theory till we get the facts. I mean, I do believe that there's a possibility she's pregnant. We talked about that a lot on the show. And I don't think anybody understands why he would kill Madeline. It just doesn't make any sense. You know, considering the years.
I don't think he would kill her. I don't think he'd want to.
Yeah, like, why he'd want to.
Just want. I think he drugged her, and it just went south, and she accidentally died.
Right.
But, that's just my theory on the thing.
Appreciate you for sharing, man.
I think that the mom knew because she was in on it. That's why she called him to come that Sunday because they were going to make it look like she got pregnant from a kidnapper or something.
I mean, listen, when we look and we evaluate why Jen called Stefan down, it doesn't really make sense either. Because she didn't need him to come down. So, I mean, it's like, was it for something nefarious? I appreciate your time, man. Thank you so much for your theory, man. There's no such thing as a bad theory. And listen, we got to figure this out, man. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Hey, you're welcome. You have a good day.
You too, brother. All right. Interesting call. Welcome to the Strategic Eyes Show. We're going to get out of here soon. Maybe you'll take one or two more calls. How you doing, caller? Where are you calling from, and what is your name? Hello? Anybody home? Apparently not. All right. Call back if you can, caller. Maybe we had a bad connection. Anybody else want to call in? Call in now, because we're going to get out of here soon. And I definitely got a few things I need to do, but I'd love to hear from you guys as well. Anybody else want to call? Cozy Constancy says, it was me. Well, Cozy, we couldn't hear you. Call back, Cozy. Call back and we'll take your call. Cozy said, I was talking to you, but you couldn't hear me. All right, we'll call back. Give it another try. It's all good. If it doesn't work, catch you another time. Call back. All right, let's see what's happening in the chat while we wait for that next caller to call in. Lines are open, 518-639-6283, 518-639-6283. Call in. Let's talk about your theories. Let's talk about this tragedy. Kind of get to the bottom of it, right? Trying to figure this out. Yo. What's going on, caller? Welcome to Strategic Eyes Show. What's your name? Where you calling from? Can't hear you. Sorry, Cozy. Your Obama phone is not working. You guys remember those Obama phones? the Obama phone is not working, Cozy. All right, guys. We'll give Cozy one more try if she wants to try, and then we're out of here. We're going to get out of here and call it a day. Great show today. I really appreciate you guys showing the love that you show. Please make sure you hit that like button. Support the channel. Cozy says, dang it, with a sad face. It's all good, Cozy. We'll catch you another time. All right, guys, we're wrapping it up. I'm going to close the application up. No more phone calls. That's it. It's done. It's finito. You guys are great callers, great, interesting theories. There's no such thing as a bad theory. One of the callers touched on something that was very interesting that I want to just share with you guys. I want to just flesh out with you guys real quick before we go. if you're a victim of this type of trauma, please do not dive headfirst into this type of true crime to try and find understanding and meaning into what happened to you. Go and get help. If you are doing that, that means you did not get the help. You did not put in the work. Maybe you've tried and you want to, and you're very brave for trying and wanting to, but you didn't put in the work the way you're supposed to. Go and get mental health counseling. Get that support, that therapy is going to bring you to a level of understanding within yourself as to what happened and bring you on that path and that road of healing. That should be your priority. Do not listen to true crime and listen to these horrible things that are happening to other people and internalize it and re-traumatize yourself and all that stuff. Don't do it. Don't do it, ladies and gentlemen. Go do the work. Get the help. The resources are out there. The support groups are out there. You don't have to do this alone, all right? I see it a lot, guys. That's why sometimes, at first I was a little harsh, and then I started softening up because I've noticed that the way sometimes people come at me because they didn't like the way I said certain things or I was too expressive on certain things. I'm like, this person is not a bad person. This person is speaking out of a space of trauma. And I see that sometimes. And some of my biggest critics are people who are literally not talking out of a bad space. They're not bad people. They're literally talking with a trauma brain. They're literally talking with a trauma brain. Their comment, their pissed off comment, their negative comment, it's a trauma brain that's talking. You should not be here consuming this content. You should be putting in the work. Get the help you deserve. Big shout out to Tori with another $10 super chat. Tori said, last thing I want to say for today, thank you. You keep saying as many things as you like, Tori. I'm not complaining. Thank you for being so respectful of all of our theories. I've had some crazy ones. I've left the channel for the guy being mean to people that didn't share his thoughts. Well, you know what? Everybody can run their show however they want. It's not our job on the Strategic Eyes Show to judge them. Well, on our show, as long as you are respectful, kind, and courteous, you will always get that in return, period. I am a law enforcement guy. I do believe in law and order. If you don't come correct and you come disrespectful, we will block you. You will join the many, many, many people who have been blocked by the Strategic Eyes Show. But as long as you come correct and respectful, whether you agree or disagree with me, there will always be a place and a home for you at the Strategic Eyes Show. Other than that, we got part ways. But I do appreciate you, Tori, and I'm happy that you feel that way, that I'm fair and respectful to people and I allow people to share their theories. I do appreciate that because that is the community we are trying to build. All right, it's time to get out of here, people. Let me cue up the outro. And this time I'm going to be prepared. I got the outro queued up. Guys, like and subscribe on the channel. Please hit the like button on your way out the door. Please consider becoming a member of the Strategic Eyes Show and a Patreon member of Strategic Eyes Show. You can have both of these for less than $10, really. You know, if you want to get the lowest tier on the membership and join the Patreon, that's $6. And if you want to get the, a good tier that'll get you mostly all of my content on the members and the Patreon, you get that for less than $10. That's like $8 or $9. So we got a very, 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 very cheap access or barrier to exclusive content. Unlike other creators that do amazing things and do great shows, we're cheaper than all of them. So please do understand we're trying our best to make the show accessible to everybody. So consider becoming a member of the Strategic Eyes Show and also consider becoming a Patreon member of the Strategic Eyes Show. I will see you beautiful people on the next one. Strategic is out of here. Peace.